So I hadn't done a new big video in a while, so I thought why not? And from the title alone, you can guess it's another Shining Time Station video. I know I did the missing references in Magic Railroad last year, but this time it's different. So get ready everyone, there's not much else to say other than this is going to be one big dive. Or rather, little dive, as I might say. So we all know Thomas and the Magic Railroad being the only Thomas and Shining Time Station crossover movie to date, with Thomas as the main star and the Indian Valley Gang as supporting characters, or nearly to most people. But did you know that there was originally another movie far back as 1993 that was the inverse of both features? Don't believe me? Well, you're about to find out. During the early 1990s, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends was taking the world by storm with the popularity of its first three successful series, especially in the US because of Shining Time Station. As early as 1994, prior to the launch of Series 4 and the family specials, Brett Allcroft had plans to make a feature film based on both of these successful shows and would make use of the model trains from Thomas and the live-action aesthetic of Shining Time. Initial plans between Allcroft and co-creator Rick Sigelkow would have been a straightforward Shining Time Station film that incorporates Thomas as a supporting feature into the main act. We don't really know what the main title was going to be, but we do have the outline of the story according to Sigelkow on SIF. The earlier film treatment involves a circus train coming to the station, just like the previous occasions in the series, only in seasons 1 and 3. However, due to J.B. King's latest efforts to find him, an evil ringmaster captures Mr. Conductor, and it's up to the Shining Time gang alongside Thomas and the other engines from the Isle of Sodor to come to his rescue, together for the first time in the series' history. Other subplots of the movie were discussed, including a circus girl befriending the station kids and overcoming her fear of horses to become a stunt rider, the titular jukebox band becoming lost and scattered after their home gets knocked over, and then get reunited through a song, J.B. King Esquire finally meeting Mr. Conductor after so long, and even a comedic scene of Schemer being shot from a cannon. And that's it. However, plans for the movie were ultimately put on hold, and then subsequently cancelled when Sigelkow left the series and moved to becoming the head of the new children's division, BBC Worldwide Americas, in 1995, where he would later work on other shows such as The Naughty Shop, Dino Sapien, Tweenies, and Ace Lightning, then Hit Entertainment, where he created and directed the show Little People, and finally NYU, where he worked as a professor of writing for children's television. On the acting side of things, Brian O'Connor, who played Schemer, left acting to pursue other projects, and in 1996, Brett Allcroft had signed a deal with Barry London, the former vice chairman of Paramount Pictures, to write a Thomas movie, and thus, Thomas and the Magic Railroad was born. So now that we have the story, what do I think of it? Well, in my opinion, as much as I would have liked to see this movie, I honestly much prefer Magic Railroad over this one. Yes, shocking, I know, but let me explain. To me, while I would have liked to see Thomas and his friends visit the Indian Valley, but if I'm being honest, there are only two things that confuse me. 1. How on earth would they get the message about Mr. Conductor being kidnapped by the ringmaster if they're all the way across the pond in the UK? And 2, even if they do come to his rescue, how will they all fit onto one single ship which wouldn't have enough room to fit nearly all of them? More to the point, who's going to be doing their work back home on Sodor? Unless if it's only the main 11 engines. As kooky and bizarre as the concept may be, but the idea of a magic railroad connecting the two English Atlantic places together makes a whole lot more sense to me, because you'll never find any other option to suddenly arrive at Shining Time all at once, would they? But I will admit, There are a few things in this unplanned film I would have liked to see, such as the jukebox band being lost in the outside world beyond their comfort zone. I wonder what all sorts of surprises each would come across. Then there's Schemer being shot out from the cannon, which would have been super hilarious, cause who wouldn't want to see a good Schemer shenanigan to give us a good laugh? And lastly, the part about J.B. King finally meeting Mr. Conductor again for the first time in years would have been so heartwarming and finale-esque. It was first set up in the first season finale, Is This the End?, where he found Ringo's hat on the ground and decides to have the station reopened because he knows how much his childhood and the place means so much to him and all the townsfolk. And then it was brought up again in the season 2 finale, All's Fair, where he tells the kids the backstory of when he first met Mr. C as a child while waiting for his train. And then there's the typical running gag where he tries to find him throughout the series and sorta came full circle during the 3rd season episode, The Big Bully, when he overhears the commotion between Dan and his nephew Buster when the latter was about to hurt the little guy and finally acknowledges his presence almost. So this would have paid off pretty well in this movie, where the two share a tenderly reunion, bringing in a wonderful close to both characters. So in conclusion, the Unplanned Shining Time Station movie sounds like a good idea, but again, I much prefer Magic Railroad a little more. Even if that movie may have had a polarizing reputation among fans and others, it is still a good attempt at a Thomas and Shining Time crossover pretty well, I think. I've been the Sudrine Zero, wishing you all a fantastic day, and I will see you all in another video. But before we go, I'd like to recommend checking out Skull's Productions review series of Shining Time Station, where he takes a look back at every episode, family special, and spin-off of the show itself. To conclude from a certain lyric, your own imagination's waiting there for you.